control the vertigo.
Welcome to Anthologic, the TV anthology podcast. I am your host, Mark. Anthologic is a podcast dedicated to exploring the good, the bad, and the odd of horror, science fiction, and the best of mystery suspense anthology shows and series on TV. Join me as we slip through the cracks of reality to approach the extremes of experience, where we can peruse the stories and art of a sinister fairground of strange and wonderful rides. And now we go on to the show that is the focus of this particular episode. Welcome to this episode of Anthology with your host Mark. Today I'll be talking about an anthology series called The Hitchhiker. It's also called Deadly Nightmares in the UK and Le Voyageur in France. Was like a mystery, horror, suspense anthology TV series. Airing for 4 seasons from 1983 to 1987 on HBO and in various other networks afterwards. I'm sorry, I said 4 seasons. Actually, there were 6 seasons because it continued on different networks for another 2 seasons. It was kind of, the premise is a hitchhiker is wandering around, gets picked up by someone, and that person usually then has the story. And the hitchhiker is just kind of making general asides about them as a sort of top and tail in each story. So, and the hitchhiker is played by Paige Fletcher. This season 1 of this show, and I'm only going to talk about the first episode, was very short. It was 3. It's almost like a tester or a trial or a sort of pilot, but 3 of them before it continued. So seasons 2, 3, and 4 were 10 or 13 episodes each, and then the 5 and 6 went to 20 odd episodes. So and that was under USA Network. That. It had a fair number of episodes, and considering I can't remember how I stumbled across this, but I'd never heard of it. That's quite something. There's a lot going on. They are adult in tone. Certainly the one I watched was clearly made for adults. It's not a family sort of show in any way, and I'll describe why in a minute. And I assume it was in the same vein throughout. So the hitchhiker basically gets picked up by people and clears off. I will say, apparently when this was originally filmed, a different person was the hitchhiker, an actor called Nicholas Campbell, for those first 3 episodes. Paige Fletcher did the rest, but I did go back and reshoot the hitchhiker segments with Paige Fletcher for those first 3, and this is the episode I saw, which I should say is on YouTube. So 85 episodes over the 6 seasons, which is quite a lot. 39 in the first 4 seasons and 46 in the last 2. And it was a joint production. It was a US, Canada, France co-production. And it's fairly adult, and I can see there's a French influence somewhat. This has kind of got a sleazy, noirish feel, this particular episode. And I got a feeling, I did watch the beginning of the second episode, and it had a similar feel, so there was something going on. The show creators were Louis Cheslott and Riff Markovitz. So they kind of were the show creators. It has a definite 80s synth score. It's very, very 80s. You can kind of just tell exactly which era this piece of TV's from, and it was fun. The opening sequence is fine. It's basically in a red, like almost like handwritten font or chiseled font, The Hitchhiker, and it goes on. I don't know if it's meant to relate to the film The Hitchhiker or The Hitcher. No, probably not. Actually, it's not that type of thing at all. And it ran for about 25 minutes or so. As I say, the first episode, and I think the second one, probably more, are on YouTube. The first episode is called Shattered Vows. All three of these first three episodes were directed by Ivan Nagy, and all three were written by Louis Chesler. The first one aired on November the 23rd, 1983, and the other two was very quickly after that. They all aired within 1983, and the first one was November 23rd, so you can see they were on fairly quick turnaround. And Shattered Vows is a very noirish. It's quite perfunctory, I have to say that. Because of the short running time, I imagine. But the character, who's basically from a poorer family, you get the sort of suggestion, is marrying someone rich and older than him. Basically, I think it's a widow or a divorcee is the implication. And the character concerned whose name is Jeff Boda, is played by Bruce Greenwood, who's very young. Bruce Greenwood, let me try and describe. He played Captain Pike in the new Star Trek reboot. He's also, I've seen him very much more recently in quite a good Netflix movie, Gerald's Game, the Stephen King adaptation, Gerald's Game. He played Gerald, and he did a good turn in that. So I kind of know Bruce Greenwood. I didn't realise it was that man. I just kind of recognised this actor. He was very young, and he's got kind of 80s hair, which changes things. He marries, basically he's about to marry this older woman who has this stepdaughter. There's obviously no love lost between the stepdaughter and the stepmother. There's a hint that, like, she says, you be good, otherwise it might affect your trust fund. And we find out that this woman, the older woman that Jeff is marrying, has got control of this younger character's trust fund, so she could cut her off with a penny. So she's got to be careful. Now, the older woman's called Jackie, the younger woman's called Pamela, and I wasn't expecting this. I've watched a lot of Anthology TV, and it tends to be less adult. I mean, Tales from the Dark Side is possibly or Tales from the Crypt is possibly the exception, but this, they start taking their clothes off pretty much. There's a lot of topless ladies or a lady in this, so it's got to feel like something like Red Shoe Diaries meets horror anthology. That's the feel. There's a lot of suggested sex and nudity within this, and it's not shy about the way it does it. However, it does start with the young man talking to his grandmother, who's obviously from like Eastern European, and she's sort of warning him he must be pure of heart and all this. And he's given this weird statuette of her by his grandmother of the a wife and a groom and a bride. So what happens is he has a one night or a fling with the stepdaughter the day before his wedding. But she's all excited, she said that's what makes it fun and all this, it's noir, right? It's femme fatale kind of stuff. And at the wedding, he kisses the bride, but he's looking at the stepdaughter and she's looking at him. And but suddenly the bride and the groom kind of pass out, and just before it, we see the weird statuette on top of the cake being surrounded by candles. And they both pass out because they're super hot. They feel superheated. So when the candle's blown out, they both recover. And basically, they don't put two and two together. But I should mention the older lady has a minor bird, and it talks, and you think that that's going to say some sort of indiscreet conversation at some point in this episode and reveal what's going on. That's what I thought anyway, because I'm used to sort of noir, right? And what happens is the statue gets scraped with a nail, and a mysterious, not a gash but a long scratch appears on Jeff's hand in the same place. They realise the statues have some sort of voodoo power, but I think he can't unlink the bride and groom, so he's trying to figure out what to do. Basically, he talks the stepdaughter starts saying, "Yeah, if she was out of the way, I'd be able to get my money, and we could be together." And there's all that kind of thing. So they start. But when Jeff realises his power, he thinks, "Hold on, if we do something, what we do to these statues affects them." affects her. And he insists there's also a side character who's like a plastic surgeon. This older man who's a plastic surgeon, who's not a very good actor, let's be said. And Jeff invites him out to go snorkeling. I think it was an alibi. And he goes out snorkeling, so he's got a scuba gear with a mouthpiece and stuff like that. And he specifically says to the stepdaughter, put a jar or a container over the statue at this time. Basically what's cut the air off. But somehow it causes the woman to not be able to breathe. But he's got this breathing gear, so it's okay for him. That doesn't really make sense. Anyway, that's what happens. And the woman dies from lack of oxygen. Then the pair come up and he basically dismisses all the stuff. It's a big rich house, right? They've got a lot of servants. He dismisses all the stuff, says I want to be alone in my grief, but really he wants to be alone with the stepdaughter, and they start getting jiggy. But what happens is the statue of the bride and groom is still in the in this bedroom, and the minor bird gets out of its cage, and while Jeff and the young lady Pamela are sort of getting busy, the minor bird, for some reason, it starts attacking the statue or scratching with his claws. And so Jeff starts getting welts all over him and starts screaming, runs down these stairs while the gashes, while the minor bird's still attacking this weird statue, getting worse and worse and worse. And finally he falls down the stairs and something super weird happens. When he stumbles down the stairs, he kind of breaks apart like he's made of clay. He's like a clay statue, which makes no sense, right? I don't know where that comes from. And kind of the episode end was the hitchhiker says, that's what happens when you're willing to go as far as you can. You end up in hell and all that. Yeah. Okay. So not bad. Bit more sexy than I was expecting, has to be said. I was not expecting all that. And I also thought the stepdaughter was going to pull a femme fatale and kill both of them and actually deliberately sort of, throw the statue in a fire or something. But no, she's not responsible. It's just a bit of bad luck with the minor bird that causes this. So it's the final twist nuts, as I say. It's kind of, it becomes a weird statue thing as he falls down the stairs. So fine. Okay. Yeah, it's worth a look. It's on YouTube, 20 odd minutes. Why not? So I wouldn't say it's too bad. I would give it a bit of soft recommend, I think, is how I would describe this. It's interesting to see some early work from Bruce Greenwood too. So that's all I've got to say, except for one thing I want to ask you. Is anybody out there? I'm not.
We now return control of your television set to you until next week at this same time, when the control voice will take you to